Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to the channel for the season 2 finale of Severance. For those of you who are new here, my name is Joe and I review all of your favorite TV shows on this channel, currently doing Severance, Yellow Jackets, White Lotus, Good American Family, Perhaps Maybe, and Happy Face. On my Patreon, exclusively I'm covering The Pit and some murder mysteries, previously the RA Murders and soon Long Bright River. Now about Severance. That revelation from Cobel didn't even feel like a revelation because I feel like everyone figured this out by now, that Mark was programming personalities, tempers, consciousnesses for his wife. And that's what the numbers were. And I was saying in my review of the second episode, I'm pretty sure that the fact that Mark was working on his wife could not be by chance, because all he was doing was about emotion. It was about recognizing emotion, feeling emotion from those numbers, about categorizing emotion, building different ratios of these tempers to build different personalities. Now is confirmed. So it is about that. It is about the emotional connection between Mark and Gemma. It is important that Mark is working on Gemma's file, much more than the revelation or confirmation that this is what he is doing. He is creating different personalities, consciousnesses for his wife. The implication of this is way bigger than you might be thinking because, okay, Mark is working on his wife. He's creating all of these different innies for her, for them to test whatever it is that they are testing. I will probably discuss this as well. What are Helly, Dylan, and Irving doing? They work with the same numbers. They feel the same emotions. That's how they identify the numbers, is through the emotions they feel. Who are they working on? Because before now it was a theory, right? That Mark working on Gemma was specific, was on purpose. But now we have the confirmation. We have to wonder, who are Dylan, Helly, and Irving working on? I mean, not Irving anymore, but the other two. Who in their lives has died? Fake died, that they are working to create 25 different personalities for. And I know what you're thinking. Maybe they aren't doing this with anyone else. Maybe it's just Gemma, because Gemma seems so important to them. Maybe the only reason Gemma is so important to them is because she's the first person to actually make it through all the 24 rooms, to actually be able to have successful results from this experiment. What if the other people that Dylan, Helly, and Irving are working on haven't been successful and have remembered what happened to them in those rooms, that the pain that they felt has lingered into them and they are failed experiments? Whatever it is, I feel like it's a pretty big implication that knowing what the numbers are means that all those other people working the same thing, Irving, Dylan, and Helly, are also working on supposed dead loved ones. And I'm thinking, is this why Irving was there? Was Irving a detective, a investigative journalist who was aware or had a tip about this being the procedure? Because we know the reintegration lady is not loyal to Lumon. And if she knows about Gemma, she probably knows about the purpose of Gemma and what they are doing to Gemma and the purpose of Mark. So if she knows that and she has, infiltrated or left Lumon, surely there are other employees. And we've seen with the letter that they released in season 1 that there are other examples of employees who have left Lumon and have come forward to the press. So was Irving an infiltrated police officer, investigator, or investigative journalist because he was targeted by Lumon the way that Mark was after Gemma died? Did Irving lose someone and was aware of why he was being recruited and went anyway to investigate what they were doing? Did Irving know all along what they were doing with the goddamn numbers? I mean, not any Irving, he wouldn't have known. This is what I'm thinking, because if Mark's purpose is that, the other one's purposes must be that as well. And Petey the same. Petey must have had someone close to him who died. And that's why he went into the floor. And I mean, how could the innies know if they have no memories from the outside? So all the outies think they are doing is just getting over this loss, and they don't know that they are being targeted by Lumon to take part in an experiment to program their fake dead loved ones to be experiments for Lumon. Because I mean, they say that Gemma is really important, and the way that they show around her shows us that she's really important, maybe because all the other people, all the other experiments have failed. And they haven't managed to get this complete severance, not only of memories, but of emotions, because this is what they're doing, right? This is why they are testing different experiences of pain. They want to create a device, a chip, whatever it is, that completely severs them from the person they were, because we know that the emotions the innie feels kind of flows to the outie, like not just the physical sensations, emotions go to the outie as well, and from the outie to the innie. We even see in the final experiment when Mark goes down there that she, even though she was disassembling the crib while listening to that song, when she saw Mark, she felt something, she trusted him. So this is what they are trying to sever, not just the memories of who they were, not just the personality, because they have gotten that far with the innies. The innies have different personalities. No, they are trying to sever the emotion out of them. They're trying to make sure that the emotions the innie feels does not go to the outie, and probably the other way around. And I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say at this point that they failed, because even when Gemma was doing the test of the crib, she still felt emotions towards Mark. She still trusted him enough, even though my man was covered in blood. He was covered in blood, and she still trusted him. So the experiment failed. But this is what Mark was programming, isn't it? A personality, a consciousness, a combination of Gemma's tempers that completely severs her from who she is. Not just memories, not just core traits, but emotions as well. And I mean, is that even possible? Are these idiots just doing all this to these people for something that can't be done? Because the other innies that we saw being experimented on with Gemma clearly had different personalities. So whenever Mark was programming those innies, those consciousnesses, oh my god, I can't say that word, those different conscious people, when Mark was programming them, he was programming different combinations of the tempers. And I'm assuming that the tempers are classified the same way for every person, but they are different depending on the person, because Gemma probably has a different expression of anger than anyone else does. You know, it depends on your experiences and who you are, the way you express your emotions. Even though there are similarities between people, they're not all the same. So whenever Mark was programming these tempers, he was programming Gemma's original core emotions and emotional expressions into different ratios to create different personalities. That's why we see one of the innies being angrier than the other. They are just testing what works best. And the final personality that they built was the final test of the perfect combination, the perfect ratio to create someone who is so completely severed from who they are that they will follow any instruction, even when it goes against the core of who they are. Because that's the thing we saw with the memory. Gemma was going insane when Mark was disassembling the crib. It made her, it broke her, you know, it made her so sad. Gemma wouldn't do that. Gemma would see the crib, hear the music, and she would just fall to her knees and cry in sadness. But what they were trying to accomplish is someone with, as I said, the perfect combination of the goddamn tempers that will follow any instruction. Now, why do they need this for? Well, I'll discuss it in a bit, but first, I want to talk about the rest of the episode. To me, the implications to the rest of the team are clear that they are also working on loved ones that they have lost in some way or another. And we see something interesting with the rest of the team, specifically with Helly, because we see that Jame visited her. We saw this in the last episode. And I said in my previous review that he was going to try to manipulate her to get her to his side or something. But no, he went there because he's proud of her. He sees care in her. And the whole time, like that guy was saying that, I was just thinking, you fucking idiot. You hypocritical, mistreating, abusing idiot. That he said that when she was a child, when Helena was a child, he saw care in her because he saw the fight in her, but then he abused and mistreated her and controlled her to such an extent that Helena's fight was gone, that she was completely submissive, completely under his control, and no longer had the fight of care in her. But now he sees it in Helly, because Helly has the personality or certain personality traits and emotions of Helena without the restraint of his control. She has something to fight for, even though she's fighting against great odds. So of course he sees whatever freaking spirit of Kira in her, because she's an actual human being, not just a controlled machine. And the irony of this is so insane, because the only reason that Helly actually has that Kira spirit in her, the fight of a human being in her, is because she doesn't have his influence. And she even says it. She's like, yeah, you must have been a great father, asshole. She doesn't say asshole, but she should have. But what I think we see, and also baby boy says he has like a bunch of bastards and none of them have the spirits of Kier. Well, anyway. I think what this means, especially with the ending of the episode, that we see that Helly and Mark are like running towards the horizon, towards a happy ending, or like towards their damnation, whatever it is. I think the implication here is that Jame will protect Helly, that even after all of this, he will make sure that she is safe, because he sees the spirit of Kier in Helly, not Helena anymore. Because you have to wonder what's going to happen in the next season, right? Because in the ending of season 1, it seemed impossible that the world wouldn't find out about Lumon, because Helena said all of that. Well, Helly disguised as Helena. But I mean, they fixed it in the weekend. So what are our expectations for season 3? With that ending, I feel like they could fix it in the weekend if they wanted to. But okay, let's review the episode up until the moment where Gemma is out. We start the episode with the way that I'm reviewing the episode 15 minutes into the video. Anyway, we start with that wonderful conversation between the Marks. And you can totally see, because Mark, like outside Mark calls inside Mark like a child. And it's like, I mean, he's a 2-year-old, so in a way. But also Mark S has been dealing with so much bullshit. Everyone lies to him all the time. He doesn't know who to trust. Why would he trust Mark Scout? Why would he trust his outie? He was the one who put him in that situation in the first place. Why would he trust him? Why would he trust the person that has the power to end your life? So I get it. And the conversation was so interesting, because Mark S started out like kind of excited about meeting his maker in the way, you know, he's meeting his maker. He's meeting the person who decided that he would exist. He's meeting the person without whom he doesn't exist. He's kind of meeting his maker in a way, and he's like super excited. He is a bit of a fangirl. In the first video that he watches, he's like a bit of a fangirl. And it's really cute, but gets really dark really soon when Mark S starts realizing that he is in a disadvantaged position. And he starts realizing that, oh, the only reason I am meeting my maker, the only reason I'm meeting my outie is because this motherfucker needs me to save his wife, needs me to save his Helly. And when he got Helly's name wrong, I knew he was lost. My guy was lost. And it's really interesting to think that depending on your context, depending on how you grow up and the influences around you, depending on your community, depending on what you see and hear and experience every day, You could have the same set of personality traits and behave very differently. I think the argument of nature versus nurture, or the combinations of both, which is what we go with these days, is so interesting in this show. I don't know if anyone is doing like a video essay about this, but the exploration of this issue with this show would go hard, would go really hard. Should I? But yeah, the conversation between the Marks doesn't go anywhere because Mark Scout is a selfish idiot. So Cobel needs to kind of come in and tell him what he's doing. And I think that's really what sways him. It's not even the fact that he realizes his chances with Helly are very dim. It's the fact that he is hurting a human being. I think that's what sways him in the end. The fact that he's programming personalities of his wife, or who he knows there as like the therapist. That's what sways him in the end. Well, that and LA, because then he goes into the Lumon severed floor for his final day there because, oh, by the way, we find out that after he does the Cold Harbor file, he will probably be fired or transferred to some other department, probably fired. So, and you know, I said this before. I said they can't harm the Inis because they need them. But if it gets to a point where they are more harm than value, then they would harm them. And what happened? So yeah, Mark finishes his file and the whole scene with Helly was just heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because it was Bert and Irving all over again with those big close-up shots of them just kind of saying goodbye and Helly encouraging him to do this because then at least he gets to live. I mean, Helly is the saint of the show. They should paint her. I mean, they kind of do in the end. But yeah, Mark finishes the file and then we get... Oh my god, you guys, the way that I was dancing with Milkshake, like, you go girl, you shake your ass. That was so funny. This very serious figure that does not smile the whole time out there shaking, like moving around with the band, like you can tell that Milkshake is a complete devout of these people. And I mean, when he was in the bathroom trapped as, you know, Mark flee, as Mark ran away, when he was like trapped in the bathroom and he was looking at himself in the mirror, I was thinking, oh, he's finally realizing it. He's finally seeing that he's in a horrible position, that they are taking advantage of him. He's finally seeing all of the culminating of his rage and revolt against the way they treat him, and he's going to give up and he's going to join the fight. But no, he doesn't. It doesn't. He literally gets himself out of there. Like, that man is strong. He's strong. Jesus. But yeah, Mark gets down, not before almost dying, because, oh my god. When I saw the rage in that man's eyes, all the while the word frolic was tattooed on his hand. Now I know why the word frolic is there, because he has no joy in his life. He has to tattoo it on his body to have just a little bit of it. But we see the goat lady, the bad bitch that you are, and we finally find out what the goddamn goats are for. They are, and it just, the implications of this are so insane, guys, because we find out that the goats are there to be put down and sent to cure heaven with the experiments downstairs. So whenever an experiment dies, a goat dies with the experiment and guides the soul of that person to cure heaven, apparently. And the way that the goat lady was behaving is like, how many more? I've probably killed hundreds of goats. How many more am I going to have to kill? Which means that they have killed hundreds of people they've been experimenting on. Which means that all the people in this department, in this macro data refinement departments, have been working on their loved ones probably for years. The amount of people that they have killed to do this experiment and be successful in severing people from their emotions, I can't even imagine. So when they're about to do it, I mean, I thought the goat lady was going to shoot him then and there before Mark even showed up, but she doesn't. Mark shows up, Dermot goes outside, almost strangles him, and then the goat lady comes in and saves our baby boy. And it was so funny because Marquez took Dermot downstairs with a gun to his neck, and he didn't realize that in the process of like being unsevered again, not unsevered, in the process of Mark's scout returning, like his body would jerk and the trigger went off without him even wanting to. But yeah, Mark gets to Gemma, he saves her, even though she's supposed to be completely severed from her emotions, she is not, and she sees something in him, and she trusts him, and she goes with him, and I finally get the one thing that I wanted from this season, guys. I get them reunited. I was in goat heaven when I was watching that. Oh, they finally reunite. It was so beautiful. And then they have to go upstairs again and Mark S has to return and then he takes her. It does save her. Like he takes her to the stairwell where she's Gemma again. But I mean, it makes sense that he would stay because he isn't in love with Gemma. Like, he doesn't care about her. He cares about Helly. So, of course, he wants to stay to save her. You know, I think that was a perfect ending. I don't think they could have made it any better. Like, if Marquez had left with Gemma, it wouldn't have felt right. It would have felt too easy, too easy. And it's also a great contrast that we started the episode with Mark outside and Gemma inside, and we end the episode with Gemma outside and Mark inside. Well, Gemma isn't completely outside, but I feel like she could find her way out, and also I think there's a good chance that Cobel and Yvonne are waiting for her outside, so I think that she could have the chance to survive. However, we know what they did last season. We know that they were back on track in a weekend. So this is what I want to discuss about the ending of the season and potential season 3 is they can't do it again, right? They can't do the thing again of where the weekend went by and everything is fine. They can't fix this like that. So what I think they are going to go is like a midway through it. Not fixing it completely, but fixing it as much as they can. They will probably not send Mark home. I don't think they would send him home because then he would be another corroborating source to talk about this. I think that they will have a chance, like Cobel, Devon, and Gemma will have a chance. Maybe they will reunite with a reintegration lady, maybe not. But they will have a chance to expose Lumon. And I still think that Cobel is going to betray them. I don't know, like, she seemed completely on their side, but I do not trust her. I'm with the reintegration lady. I don't trust Cobel. I don't think she's going to help them completely. I think she needs something to trade with. I think she needs Gemma because she needs to face Lumon and be like, I have something that you want. You have to listen to me. I think that's what she's doing. I don't think she's going to help them. I think Cobel wants Gemma alive because Cobel needs a trading coin to go into negotiations with Lumon because Cobel wants what? Recognition for her inventions and her contribution to Lumon. So, yeah, I don't think they are safe. And especially because Mark stayed there. I don't like it. But I want to discuss as well this thing that the nurse lady says to Gemma as she's running to the elevator with Mark. She says, you will kill them all. Who? Why is Gemma's life responsible for other people's life? Like, who will she kill? Is she talking about the Innies? Is she talking about the idea or the prospect that they might expose Lumon and end the Severance program and end all of the Innies' lives? It has to be, right? That has to be what she's talking about. Like, if you take Gemma, if you expose Lumon, you will kill all the Innies. That has to be the all that she was referring to, right? But with all of this, there's still no clear answer as to what they're actually doing there. Like, why do they need Gemma to be completely severed from her emotions to the point where she could face an incredible emotional trigger like the crib and the music and still completely follow instructions? Because remember, she didn't undo the crib on her own. She didn't decide to do that. Like, that's not her first reaction when she saw the crib. Baby girl didn't even want to go in the room. She was following instructions. And this has to get you to reflect on what they could be doing here. And here I have one of my crazy delusional theories. Ready? Are you set? Are you comfy? What happens to any new invention? Like, whenever anyone invents something technological, biological, whatever the hell it is, what happens to it? What's the industry that can profit from anything these days? What's the one place where having a work machine completely cut off from their emotions is good? To make them completely suggestible to instructions is good. Where do you need big groups of people that can follow command without complaining, without crying, without feeling the psychological toll of what they are doing? Where is the place where people would have to do such brutal things that they would need to be severed from their emotions to do them? Tell me I'm wrong and they are not trying to build soldiers. Because I know everyone is saying that it's an afterlife, that they're going to sell these chips to everyone to do normal things like going to the dentist and avoiding doing chores. There's a lot of theories out there, but I mean, where do you actually need to not feel your emotions? Where is the one place that has incredible, damaging, and severe psychological consequences? The battlefield. So this is my crazy delusional theory for this season. What they're actually doing is creating a procedure that allows human beings to become total machines that follow instruction without feeling any emotion or emotional consequence. And then it's easy to imagine why people would go into this, isn't it? Because then they have the promise of clear heaven with the goat. You know, you do this, you kill for us, for the country, whatever the hell, and then you go to heaven when you die with a goat. Because because why would they need complete break from your emotions just to go to the dentist? Surely it would be enough to not remember the pain. Why would you need to be so emotionless that you follow instructions as you are told them to go to the dentist? You know? Now, the painting. Mark walked into the severed floor and immediately saw his future, right? Completing the file, reaching up to clear heaven with everyone who with invested interest by his side. The bored Helly, Dylan, Irving, Cobel, Devon and her husband, Milkshake, the kid with the fellowship. I'm I'm pretty sure that even Petey was there. Gemma, Natalie, even, do you know who they had in that goddamn painting? Those balloon things, those balloon clones that they saw when they went to the goddamn snow retreat. It's like they're making fun of him. Look at you, finishing your file, finishing your Lumon career, reaching up to Kier heaven, being witnessed by your cloned balloons. It feels like they are making fun of him in front of him. And I have to mention the painting because the final scene that we see is not Mark and Helly running for their damnation or whatever it is. The final scene that we see is them running as a painting. So this is what I'm thinking, right? Is this already season 3? Are we already in season 3 seeing what they did? That the way they contained this was by saying, oh, this was the macro data refinement revolution. They revolted against the harsh policies of the Lumon severed floor. They made history by creating great working conditions for all the innies. Right? That's what I feel they will do. But I mean, if they do that for season 3, it's just going to be a rehash of season 2. So they can't. They have to show something happening in this world against Lumon. They have to show some impact from all of these actions. Because if they just keep controlling it and controlling it and controlling it, then what is the message? That we, the people who revolt against the system, are lost and will always lose? I can't deal with that. Oh, and another point is Dylan having the option to leave, having that card letter from his outie. Okay. Overall, it was a good finale. It was a good finale, but it's, I don't know, guys. It felt like it was a similar goal as the season 1 finale, right? It seems like this huge thing that they accomplished. I mean, they even killed Dermot, but who is Dermot? He's like a henchman. He's a bodyguard. He doesn't mean anything to them. They can probably replace him. And this is the thing, like, is this gonna have any actual impact? Is it going to be a 3rd season that we're going to walk into a different world, or at least slightly change the world? Or is it going to be the same thing where they just fix everything and then it's back to fighting against Lumon? I don't know. The only thing I'm predicting right now, 2 or 3 years in advance, that I'm predicting for season 3 is really Cobel's betrayal. You cannot tell me baby girl is on their side. She's been indoctrinated since she was a child. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna leave with that. A theory for season 3. 1, they're creating soldiers. 2, Cobel is going to betray them. So I guess you can catch me here in 3 years. If you don't want to wait for more video reviews, if you don't want to wait for 3 years, come back tomorrow. And then the day after that, and probably the day after that, because I have reviews coming out almost every day, guys. I should not be having as much fun as I am. However, anyway, guys, see you, well, tomorrow. Bye.